Hey, what's up guys? Today I want to talk to you about technology making us lazy. When I started in business, discussing important paperwork with a client was always done in person. Although we had fax machines in our office, no one had them in their home, and doing personal business at the office was frowned upon far more than it is today. So setting an appointment to discuss business in person was just the norm. And I remember when we first gained the ability to email paperwork to clients. It was initially done on the copy machine, which would scan and send the document instead of spitting out a copy if you use the email feature. And that was the start of what has become the new normal way to do business, which in my opinion is sloppy, dangerous for the professional, and inconsiderate to the client. So this week when I learned that a realtor who is really special to me had to use a few $1,000s of her own commission to buy a washer, dryer, and refrigerator, I knew I was going to have to talk about it. Now, the reason that happened was because her client didn't thoroughly read the contract that was emailed to her and didn't realize she'd agreed to convey those items to the buyer as a part of the sale. And so when she found out, she became angry and sent the seller sent the agent a strongly worded email where she played the victim and accused her agent, who's my friend, of being negligent. So look, often we talk about how emotional it is buying and selling a house, but it's also pretty emotional for sales professionals. I mean, I don't care how thick your skin is. It's never fun to read an email from a client who you genuinely want to serve at a high level, who's accusing you of wrongdoing. Now, of course, one way to look at this would be to push back on the client. I mean, she's an adult and we have contracts for a reason. So why would you sign paperwork about something as important as a house without reading it thoroughly? And that would be a valid point. And frankly, if the client wanted to retain her own power, she wouldn't have blamed anyone but herself. But we all know that we live in a world where people would rather give away their power and point the finger and blame than accept personal responsibility. So how do you reclaim and retain in the future your own power? Well, first we have to think beyond the one transaction and fix the situation for the client. It's okay to hit a rough patch like this in a deal as long as you use it as an opportunity to over-deliver. Now, my friend clearly didn't like buying those appliances. I happen to know she has pretty nice appliances of her own, but long term, it's worth it to suck it up and just do it. Now, after fixing the situation with the client, it's time to learn the lesson and grow. And in my opinion, the lesson is that just because we can do things with technology, it doesn't mean that we always should. We know that people don't read paperwork, and we know that people are super quick to blame. So for example, if someone said to me, Jason, we just passed a law and the only way that you can earn a living is to list and sell real estate. Well, I'd go back to some old school practices and I'd insist every client meet me in person to sign documents. And I mean all agreements and all amendments. And if the client was out of town, I'd insist we do a video call and I'd only send them the documents once they were on the screen and I can see them. And that would be my business standard, and it would be established from the very first meeting. And you know what? I guarantee you from experience that no one would put up a huge fight and I wouldn't be wasting time. In fact, it would be just the opposite. I'd save time. My clients would have a stronger connection with me because they'd be seeing me more in person, and that would help with future business and referrals. And they would have a much better understanding of what they were signing and why, which also helps with repeat business and referrals. So anyone with a client-facing business in any industry really that uses contracts would benefit tremendously from sliding back in time and adopting business practices that should never have been changed in the first place, and that's meeting people face to face. So when I learned that about my friend and my client this week, you guys, I knew it was the perfect opportunity to send out what would be for you either a reminder or a new way to look at the situation entirely. And so before you go, drop down and leave me a comment. What did you learn this week? Was it this or maybe something else? Let's keep the growth conversation going. As always, thank you for your time and for watching. My name is Jason Edwards, and let's go think bigger this week.